Tuesday, April 11th. We're back with a normal show. Yesterday was kind of the return show to announce that we were back and just delay the whole thing by one more day. Just extend that vacation a little bit more. Today, back to the normally scheduled show. We've got a weather report written. I even took the time to do that task, which is part of it, and prepare some articles. So anyway, we're excited to be back. It was good yesterday to get back in the swing. All right, Doug is being added to the Instagram. There he is.
It's a beautiful morning.
All right, is that from your first day of non-drinking in the past few years?
First day without a drink of alcohol in 9 years. No, not true. No, actually, I had slept terribly last night. I had a
really?
terrible night. Yeah,
You need that booze to get to sleep.
I don't think so.
No,
I think it was well, I had a big town meeting last night that lasted for 4 hours. Got home at 10 o'clock.
Oh wow!
And,
was somebody
was
filibustering?
All worked up. No, just a lot of comments, a lot of anyway, got home really late, was all worked up and tried to go like right to bed, and that just didn't work.
Okay.
So.
Were the comments from like townspeople, like in Parks and Rec, when they come in and just kind of ramble on about crazy things?
Yep, that's pretty much how it goes.
That's funny. Good to know that really happens in real life.
Oh, it definitely does. Yep. How was your first night?
That's
or
funny.
did you do it? I guess I should.
Yeah.
say.
Oh yeah, I did it. It was good. I had a Sam Adams, just the haze. So that was a nice. That's a alcohol-free beer, or whatever it's called, non-alcoholic beer, for those who don't know. Yeah, Erin saw me drinking. She was like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be on that thing." And I said, "This is just the haze." So it was good.
Just the haze.
Yeah.
No alcohol.
So it was
just
fine.
the haze.
Nothing too different. Yeah, really not really anything different. But we'll see. I think a few more days of that in a row, and hopefully I will feel a difference. We'll see.
Yeah.
So anyway, hope other people are doing it as well. Let us know if you are. I'd be curious to hear. And can people still join in, Doug, if they want to and it's late? Like, what if someone heard the podcast yesterday or they don't hear it today?
Yeah, it's technically closed down. It was kind of something we worked out with our partners.
So you're not allowed to stop drinking.
But you're not allowed to stop. Now, if you want in, I'm happy to get you in. Just DM me or email me, Doug at Numbing Athlete, or DM me. It's Doug Hay on Instagram, and I will get you in.
Cool.
I got the inside access.
And of course, if you don't have, you can just do it along with us without signing up. We'd like you to sign up, but just because you missed the start date doesn't mean you can't still do it along with us. So good. Okay. Well, good. Glad to hear that. Is Katie doing it with you, Doug, or does she already not have very many alcoholic drinks?
She does not drink that much anymore these days. But no, she's not. She's not doing it with me. She's like a weekender. If we go out somewhere, have a beer, kind of thing. But
amateur status.
I know, right? Lame.
No, not gonna shame non-drinking. It's good. It's a good thing. Okay, good. Well, what else, Doug? What else?
I was going to tell a Katie story, but I should probably not do that.
Okay. You can think about it. Tell it tomorrow if it's,
yeah, maybe get permission first.
Yeah. All right, good. Anything else going on in your life? I have a small update as my I have that little back issue from kettlebell swings that I think I did. I think I had bad form for like a whole year. My lifting has like gotten to a peak. I hit the peak week last week, was like where you hit the 5-week goal thing of doing 5 sets of the things you could only do 1 set of at the start. But since then, my back has just been like really flared up. So yesterday I took a little, took a day off of the easy part of the training. I just omitted squats entirely. So first time having to modify the training, which is a little bit of a bummer. I don't like that. I was perfect up until that point, at not missing anything. But anyway, just, I don't know. Squats and deadlifts seem to aggravate it.
Yeah. Well,
so that's about the only thing I've got going on.
I got a little funny thing. It's just every time this happens to me, it's just a reminder that to be patient with your training. And I'm talking about running here, but I have like the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I think I just haven't been sleeping all that well, and just like, I don't know, for whatever reason, my runs have been really hard. Like even a 4-mile run or something just felt really sluggish, really down. Nothing was clicking. Just discouraged about my training the last couple of weeks. And then this morning, I had an awesome run. It just felt like everything snapped right back. And even though I didn't sleep all the way well last night either, but like I don't know. It's just one of those things that I think that if you're patient with your training, if you're going through some sort of lull, your body might be working through something, your mind might be working through something, whatever it is, you can get to the other side. Just stick with it. Don't get too discouraged and stick with it. And that was a good reminder for me today.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I've felt that, years ago, but like with summertime running, especially when I would hit that warm weather and coming into it after a week off or something, I remember just like, it was just so hard to move forward. But if you just kept doing it, even if you had to walk for a little bit, you kind of be kind to yourself, keep doing it. You're right. Usually things just resolve on their own. So like the advice. Good. All right. So then a couple people commented on things here, generally saying just good morning, beautiful day in the Netherlands, says Steven. Let's see. Mr. Jeffrey, though, asks about how's the foster puppy. It turns out our foster puppy, today's her last day. She got adopted, and tomorrow she will go off with her new owner. So that is a success. And we're watching a friend's dog as well right now. So our house
are you going to miss this foster puppy? Is it going to be a hard transition for you?
It won't for me. She's so like unexpressive that you'd have to really try to develop a connection with her. Mm-hmm. But my wife certainly has, and so has my daughter. So it'll be hard. It'll be harder for them, I think, than it was with the puppies. For me, it's sort of indifferent, but I like that we're doing a good job with her. It's nice.
Yeah.
And but it'll be hard for Erin for sure, because she's gotten attached.
Cool. John Millen 33 on Instagram asks best post run fuel.
Best post run fuel. Okay.
Big question there, but what do you got?
Well, we're going to talk about smoothies later today. We have an article about whether smoothies are actually healthy or not, and that is one that wouldn't be necessarily the first thing you think of post run, but it could be a valid post run fuel. I always have gone by like just have simple carbohydrates. Doesn't have to be simple carbohydrates immediately afterwards. Something like white rice. I always just sort of crave white rice with soy sauce. And then like an hour or two later, try to eat a big, more just round meal with more protein in it and things like that. So anyway, so that's kind of it. Like the carbohydrates immediately after. If you want to do the 4-to-1 carbohydrate to protein thing, you could add in some handful of nuts or something. I don't know. But so I don't know. That's all I've done. What about you? You would know much better than that.
For my morning runs, I've been really into oatmeal afterwards. Oatmeal with a little bit of fruit, a little dash of peanut butter, and I don't know. That's been a very good. I know you're like a huge oatmeal hater, but I am not, and I just that's been a good one for me within like a half an hour of finishing up a run.
Yeah, good. No, I don't really like oatmeal, but I do know that it's healthy. I wish I did like it. John says mango, and then he says no protein immediately after. Yeah, I mean, like mango, fruit, whatever, like that would be all totally fine right afterward if that's what I had available, and that's what I sometimes I just do with like whatever I want the most, and usually it is one of those things. And no, I mean, protein. I don't really emphasize that immediately afterwards, but I think the ideal would be to do that. I think it's 5-to-1. I think is the ideal protein, carbohydrate to protein afterward. So yeah, I mean, you can get a little protein in there, but no, it doesn't need to be in the immediate. It's not the priority immediately post workout. Priority is replenishing that muscle glycogen that has been lost. Yep. Okay, good. Anything else before we jump into what we have today? It's the normal show.
Weather report.
Weather report is a good one today. It's a long
I know, big one.
It's big, but they're fairly quick. I don't think they require too much discussion, and they're exciting. They're good topics, all of them. Couldn't say no to any of them. So let's jump into it. This one, Doug, I know you're a book lover. Bookstore chain Barnes & Noble making the comeback of a lifetime. This is from Veg News. They're not just books, which Doug loves. Actually, I don't know if you do love books, Doug, but I know you love just egg breakfast sandwiches, and now they have those.
There you go. Cafe. Yes. now I'm a book lover.
Doesn't read a book now because he can go get an egg sandwich while he does it. Their 500 in-store cafes across all 50 states are now going to be offering this. It's not just egg though. They also have melted smoked provolone vegan cheese by Violife and a creamy plant-based aioli, also served on a soft ciabatta roll. That sounds pretty good, even to me, not really an egg sandwich eater. I could probably eat that. So anyway, that's happening. It's kind of a trial. They're saying it's a limited time that it's happening. It started, I think, yesterday. So get in there, get yourself a book. Barnes & Noble bouncing back also points out Veg News. They, everyone likes to sort of say that they're done, that company's over. But sales grew 4% last year. Whoa. Bookstore chain has plans to open 30 stores this year. I think we reported at the end of last year that Barnes & Noble actually opened more stores than they closed last year, and that was a milestone. I mean, that's kind of cool, and you know what? Not that surprising. I think there's this tech backlash happening. I just see it happening everywhere. So
I wonder, are they gonna? Because I think of Barnes & Noble as being just massive bookstores, right? Like, but they could streamline. They could not have the big CD section and like music section and all that stuff, and not have all these new different sections. They could probably streamline and be a lot more effective. Well, I don't know what their business model is, but I would imagine that you could have like kind of a little boutique Barnes and Noble that would be kind of cool.
You're right. They do take up a huge amount of space. I think the music is part of some people's experience, although maybe not. I feel like I see that more now than I used to. Like it's maybe that has made a comeback because, well, I don't know what that has that Amazon doesn't offer, but I think people like going in there to do stuff. So to be able to go to the listening stations and all that, maybe people are into that. But I can see getting rid of like the whole big Kindle area where you have all these tech things on display. That just doesn't fit. But Amazon's advantage, they have the long tail. They can offer any book in the world. Maybe Barnes & Noble needs to embrace the other side and they say, we're going to start curating carefully. You're only going to get the books in here that we think deserve to be here. So they could produce some size that way.
No Athlete Cookbook.
Yeah, right. Athlete. All the different languages of those books. Definitely. So that's our suggestion.
So I always thought that Barnes & Noble was a Starbucks. They had a partnership with Starbucks. It's saying they have a different cafe.
Yeah, Erin thought that too. Or she thought maybe they were associated. I think it was about 10 or 12 years ago that they disassociated. Okay. So now Barnes & Noble Cafe serves Starbucks coffee, but so do a lot of hotel cafes and things.
Sure.
But they are no longer Starbucks. That's just not. I don't think they're even related.
I did not know that. Interesting. Lucy B on YouTube says B&N Barnes & Noble annual membership of $25 a year is so worth it. Discounts worthwhile. Yes. I don't know what do you get with an annual membership? You
just get 10% off everything, and it doesn't even need to be yours. If you just tell them a relative and here's their phone number, they'll give you a discount. So Lucy B, if you just put your phone number there in the text, everyone can benefit.
You could be the most popular person on the show.
Yeah, exactly. And the number one purchaser of Barnes & Noble books.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, good for Just Egg and Barnes & Noble.
Yeah. All right. Chilean plant-based company Notco has announced a partnership with Burger King Colombia. Burger King continues to be a leader in these plant-based options.
Oh, you got the double sounds going.
Back to the.
I thought somebody was yelling in the background.
Anyway, but here's what's interesting. They use the slogan, "We declare ourselves flexitarians." I suppose that's in Spanish, right, Doug? Nos declaramos flexitarianos. I don't know about.
Interesting.
That's what they said. So it's odd that they're kind of embracing that term. But they have 3 new items: Veggie Whopper with the vegetarian butcher's burger patty, King Veggie. That's that thing I think that's like a normal veggie burger, like not even a high tech meat. It's like different carrots and things in it. I had one in Burger King. It was not very good. And then the Nuggets Veggie. So they're promoted as 100% plant-based, yet to be specified if the bread and sauces are vegan. Abbott's Butcher, friend company of ours, has debuted chorizo and chopped chicken in all 370 Sprouts farmers markets. So that's good. I went to my first Sprouts in a long time, 2 weeks ago or last week or something. This thing from, I think this is Veg Economist, says they're made with 100% whole food ingredients. That's not really true. The first ingredient on this new stuff is pea protein, but protein is not a whole food. But when it's like that, so I don't know what that's about. But anyway, they're
real
good.
Food, not whole food. Real.
That's right. They're real food. So but Abbott's is good. I like their stuff, and Tanya from Veg News has helped them out too. So I like them. They're good place. If you see Abbott's Butcher, get it. Yeah. They also, by the way, they have Whole 30. They got Whole 30 approval.
Oh.
First plant-based meat to do that.
Cool.
Yeah. We talked about Cory Booker a little bit recently. He and 3 other U.S. senators are calling on the USDA to take action to protect customers from misleading animal welfare claims on meat and poultry products. This, according to Veg News. Apparently, a report by the Animal Welfare Institute found that 85% of the analyzed animal welfare claims that put on meat saying, happy animals are free range or, no cage, whatever, they lack substantiation. There's not really any evidence that the people are doing this stuff. So it's the old consumer confusion kind of claim and saying, what are you allowed to say and what do you not? But anyway, they're supposed to submit some sort of documentation to substantiate these claims. And they found that when they reviewed 97 claims dating to 2013, nearly half, there was no application submitted by the producer at all.
Wow.
And then for the remaining, many of them provided minimal documentation. So those claims on meat products don't really mean very much, and they're trying to clean that up. Finally, last one. It's not technically vegan news because we said earlier that the vegan sriracha, the sriracha Hoi Fong, the one everyone knows, that kind of orange tinted one with the rooster, it's not really vegan because it has white sugar in it. So get a different brand. But if you do like that particular brand and you're okay with white sugar, be ready for an unprecedented inventory shortage, according to USA Today. This happened maybe a little pre-COVID, I think, where you just couldn't get sriracha anywhere, that brand. So I guess it's going to happen again now. But like I said, you can pick a different one. You don't need to get, that's not the only, they don't have a patent on sriracha. It's a general term for that kind of chili sauce.
Unprecedented shortage.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Which is a big deal because that was like no one could get it for 6 months.
Yeah. 2 things came to mind during this weather report. I listened to the Cory Booker Rich Roll podcast from last week, maybe.
Yep.
And it was one of the few Rich Rolls that I listened to all the way through. I mean, I love Rich Roll. That's not a knock on him at all, but they're just like, I have a hard time getting through a 2.5 hour conversation. And I loved it. I thought it was great and made me respect Cory that much more. So, good one for anyone interested. They talk a little bit about like community and politics, and not so much politics, but like coming together, working together, but also a ton about the agricultural food systems in the United States and his work there. So worth a listen. And then I also this Abbott Butcher's burger thing, or Abbott's Butcher thing, maybe chorizo, just reminded me that I had my first like old style veggie burger in a long time last week. This past weekend at Easter, actually.
Veggie King from Columbia, Burger King?
No. It was the Dr. Prager's.
Oh yeah.
Veggie burger. Like when I say old style, I mean one that you can actually like see vegetables in there.
Right.
And it was really a refreshing experience.
Yeah. Eating actual vegetables instead of
eating. I don't know. It's just like it was very tasty. It was very good, and it just kind of reminded me, like, these aren't so bad. Like I don't know. I don't know why I kind of have shunned this style of veggie burger. It's pretty good.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I think once the identical or the nearly identical meat patties came along, made out of vegetables or made out of whatever plants. We forgot about those other ones. And as long as you don't think of them as trying to be the exact same food, like it can be a good sandwich for sure, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm looking at the ingredient list of those Dr. Prager, and the first ingredient is carrots, second onion, then string beans, then oat bran, and then soybeans, and then zucchini. I mean, it's just like all this.
It's all good stuff.
All good stuff.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So
you're right. I mean, that should be like a weekly dinner item. If you want to have a healthy, easy dinner, not too expensive, I don't think. I mean, they're okay, moderately priced. Probably not as expensive as Beyond Burgers.
Oh, definitely not. At Walmart, what is it? A 4-pack? Yeah, 4-pack is only $4.48 right now. It's pretty good.
That is a good deal. Great deal. Didn't Dr. Prager start making like a more like a burger? Yeah, they
probably
did. They kind of jumped in that game as well, which is odd. They should have probably stayed out of that game. But
yeah, Mr. Jeffrey says this is. I would agree with him 100% here. I enjoy those burgers too, but they each have their own place. That's right. I love a good Impossible Burger. for what it is, and this is a different one. And I think just like you said, kind of treating them as two different things is the way to go.
Yeah. Guess what I had last night, Doug? A meal out of your playbook. I had burritos, where we sort of just cook up a bunch of ingredients, saute some peppers and onions, made some kale, put that in there, had some rice on hand, and the star of the show was Upton's Naturals seitan crumbles, like chorizo crumbles, which I had bought. We bought them for the paella we made. Of course, not the same kind of chorizo as the Spanish chorizo, but then realized it was crumbled, so it wasn't useful to us for the paella. So then we said, tacos or something later.
I mean, that sounds like a dream dinner to me.
It's pretty good. It was easy. No recipe needed. One pot, just kept using it for one thing after another. Pan. So it worked out.
Any rice or no rice?
Yeah, we had rice made from the week before, so we just reheated that.
Okay.
Brown rice.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
very
good.
Nice. Very good.
Simple, good. Yes. So that's that. Cory Booker, Doug, is he running for president or anything like that? Is that why he's on this tour of podcasts and things?
No, he's not. No.
Mm-mm. If he were, if he said, "I'm going against Biden," you would choose him on Democratic ticket?
Oh, you put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah.
What if he said, "I want to be Black Mountain Town Council and I want your seat"? Would you cede it to him? Or would you go up against him?
No, he'd be ineligible because he doesn't live here. But if he moved here and wanted to be part of our community, sure.
You just give him your spot.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to listen to, he's doing some important work now. If he wants to start listening to people complain about potholes, then go for it. No, I'm not. I don't mean that in a negative way at all. No, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. He did run for president, and he lost to.
That's right.
He lost to Joe Biden in the primary
last time. So he's not going to try again?
No, I don't think so. I think that the Democratic Party is pretty united around Biden right now.
Okay. All right. Good. There you go. There's your politics update. Okay. So.
Oh man, you make me so uncomfortable when you talk about town stuff. It's like I'm just like waiting for somebody to start clipping all this stuff.
I think it's good. You're saying the right things. Diplomatic. I like it. Okay. So let's see. People. Yeah. No great response to that. Mr. Jeffrey put pictures of burritos up. Dale Stevens said she loves Doug's physical reaction to Matt's dinner. Yeah, you did it. You were joyful about that. All right, so we got a couple articles. Both happen to be from Eat This, Not That, which is one of my favorite news sites, sort of to make fun of, but these are actually pretty good. And the first one I've got here is, are smoothies actually healthy? Dietitians discuss the pros and cons. I guess I imagined that this article was going to say, if you don't put too much yogurt and too much, sugar into them, or get them from Smoothie King and those kind of places, then yes, they can be healthy. It really didn't say that. It said more things than that and more insightful things. I used to think, to me, a smoothie used to be like one of my two, it's like my platform was drink a smoothie every day and have it every day. And like, it was just a simple way to make sure you automatically got a whole lot of vegetables and a whole lot of fruit in your diet. And I still think that's a pretty good start. Like if you're just trying to get healthy and you confused about which diet to do and all these different things, if you just did those two habits, you'd have a pretty solid foundation of getting some really healthy foods in. So I don't think it's a bad idea. So I don't really drink smoothies myself anymore. I don't have anything against them. I just tend not to eat that big of a breakfast.
Because you weren't always smoothie for breakfast, right? You were kind of smoothie in the afternoon sometimes. Or am I making that up?
Yeah, it would be kind of at different times, but I would say most often it was still a breakfast thing.
Okay.
But really, my teeth is what got me to stop drinking smoothie. That was sort of the catalyst that made me just back off a little bit. The dentist was just saying your teeth look like you. One of them even had me like go to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor because I had so much worn away material on my back teeth, and they said you must be having some sort of crazy acid reflux thing in the night that's just wearing away your teeth. And if you do, it's a cancer risk. So you need to go see this person. And I went there and they said, no evidence of any kind of stuff like that happening. You're drinking too many smoothies. So, well, I concluded that it was too many smoothies, and I think that was right.
You're gonna be one of those influencers featured on Plant-Based News, like the former smoothie enthusiast.
Yeah, it could be.
Now blames his health problems on smoothies.
Well, Dr. Greger somewhere said that you should rinse your mouth with warm water after having something like that. And I started doing that, and that really did help me. And I still do that if I have something like raspberries or any kind of berry that I know will have that effect on my teeth. So anyway, I still like smoothies a lot. I also recognize that you can definitely eat a lot more calories and sugar, albeit good kind of sugar comes with fiber, as long as you're not putting juice in there. So, but like you still could get more calories than you can if you just eat the fruits themselves. So if you're trying to lose weight, smoothies are probably not your friend.
Why do you think that is? Because you're just eating more of it?
Yeah, it's just that when you when you blend something like that, yeah, I got a phone call, sorry. It just becomes liquefied. So the way it sits in your stomach, then it somehow is easier to take in more of it, without feeling as full.
Yeah.
Even though you're still taking in all of the food, right? A much worse case would be juicing it, removing fiber and all that, and then still basically getting most of the same amount of calories, but now in a pure liquid form. But yeah, I think that's it. Chef AJ's talked about that a lot. When you blend stuff up, it just gets easier to eat more of it.
Yeah.
Also maybe more palatable too, once you put in other stuff, I guess. And then you can eat more.
I mean, I guess my experience with smoothies, I mean, I love a smoothie. And we eat, several a week because my kids love them too. But my experience is not that I'm not throwing in enormous amounts of food, right? Like a banana, maybe 2 bananas. If I'm making one for me and the girls, it'll be maybe like 2 bananas, a couple handfuls of berries, and a handful of greens, and a little bit of protein powder or something like that. I mean, that's not like crazy amounts of food. Like if I just ate that and that was my meal, that wouldn't be that, like in a bowl, that wouldn't be an enormous amount of food. And that's for me and multiple people. So I guess maybe if you're adding in a bunch of different like nut butters and milk and all this other stuff, then maybe I could see that happening, or tin bananas or whatever, like a lot of people do. But I don't know. I feel like it would be almost hard for me to fit too much food in the blender.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think that makes sense. Maybe someone who, some people just eat that whole amount themselves when they make a smoothie, right? They'll fill up a huge thing and they'll just have that. And then they can drink it way faster than you can also regular fruit. So if you weren't mindful about it, or maybe you had a problem of eating too much, then it'd be very easy to use that to overeat. Or if that was like your drink that you made with your meal, it's possible you could get that down before you got the signal that you were full.
Right. So, I mean, I guess I can see myself going to like a cafe and getting a smoothie and a bagel, and then instead of just one or the other, and then that's kind of almost 2 meals. But
right. Yeah, that's a good point though. You don't have to. I mean, it doesn't have to be an overeating tool if you're mindful about it. So that's a good point.
Mr. Jeffrey says you can consume more faster and your body digests it faster too.
Yeah, that's a good point. The digestion thing. It would be easier to digest. A lot of the work is done. So yeah, and that's not a good thing, right? Being able to digest too quickly is not necessarily good. All right. So anyway, so their viewpoint here, it says that they are a great source of fruit and vegetables. That's the obvious point. I made the same one. Most people don't get enough of those things. So if you do drink smoothies, then you get those things in there, especially the vegetables, which are not necessarily going to make their way into your smoothie if you're not making some effort to get them in there. And honestly, when I make them these days, I usually don't put any vegetables in there. But they do make it easy to get more spinach or baby kale or whatever. You can usually make that stuff disappear pretty easily in a smoothie. But anyway, so it can be great. They recommend, or the nutritionist they talk to, the RD, who is plant-based, sports and performance coach. She says add-ins like raw cocoa powder, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, vanilla bean, or matcha. So those are mostly things that I think a lot of people say they want to get more of. Antioxidant sort of rich foods. But we don't always find occasion to eat those things. So smoothie is a really good vehicle for getting those things in if you're going to make the effort. So I'm all for that. And that used to be what I would say about smoothies as well. It's just like whatever supplement or add-in thing you want to get into your diet. If you have a smoothie, it becomes something easier to get that thing because now you've got a way to make it or a way to make it get into you. They also say it can be a post-exercise recovery aid, which is what someone asked about at the very beginning here. And they say here's their recommended smoothie, this one person, 15 to 25 grams of protein and a half to 3/4 a gram of carbohydrate per pound of body weight. So that's a fixed 15 to 25 grams of protein, regardless of your body weight, and then 0.5 to 0.75 grams of carbohydrates per pound. So if you were 150 pounds, they said 25 grams of protein, 75 to 112 grams of carbohydrate. You'll end up with 400 to 550 calories. That ratio would be between 3 and 4.5 to 1. So not too far from the 5 that we said, 5 to 1 carbs to protein. And if you wanted to lose weight loss was your goal, then use a lower amount of carbohydrates without skimping on the protein. I don't know about that recommendation, but I could see it how it would be good. So yeah, I mean, like we said, that would provide you with a lot of the things you're trying to get in that post-workout meal. So not a terrible choice. And finally, the other benefit they give here is meal replacement. That if you're trying to just, swap a meal for something that is maybe just raw fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, smoothie, is great for that. A lot depends on your goal here. Like I said, if the smoothie becomes your drink for your lunch, that you're also having a lunch with it and you're not replacing, that's not going to help you lose weight for sure. But anyway, it can be a good thing. So they recommend a bunch of different options. They do recommend for lean protein, non-fat Greek yogurt and milk, dairy-free milk alternatives, low-fat cottage cheese, tofu, and white beans. We've definitely seen vegan bodybuilder types put white beans in the smoothie, which I've never really done. But I've done silken tofu in there now and then.
Yeah, I've done tofu several times.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to do it.
So I would call that just a different type of meal than a raw meal than a meal replacement, right? I mean, you're not like, especially if you're putting beans and all that stuff in there, it's a meal. It's just a liquid meal.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it depends what they mean by meal replacement, right? Like maybe they don't mean you're replacing the nutrition. You're just replacing the idea of sitting down at a plate eating. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it is a meal in a glass is all it is when you put those things in. And then healthy unsaturated fats, nuts and nut butter, seeds, avocado. Those are very good in a smoothie for sure. This does have the challenge that I always bring up of mixing the fats and the fruit, which is another reason I don't drink as many smoothies as I used to. I just started to think that it wasn't so good necessarily for me to get a whole bunch of fats and a whole bunch of sugar in the same meal. I'm not clear. I'm not positive that that's a bad thing, but I sense that it might be. Anyway, so then that's all the good stuff. And that is plenty of good stuff. That's a lot of good reasons to drink smoothies. They do give the cons. The cons here are high sugar and calorie counts, which is what we really said, but that can be the problem. They can be sugar bombs loaded with added sugars and not much or any fiber or protein to balance out your blood sugar levels. Things like flavored yogurt, honey, fruit juice concentrate, and sweetened frozen fruit may make your smoothie have as much or more sugar as a can of soda. So yeah, that's the problem. If you stay away from those things, I think you're usually pretty safe. But if you go to Jamba Juice or Smoothie King, you're probably going to be getting juices put in there or other kind of sugar that just is really taking away from almost all the nutritional value to me of a smoothie. They point out that a bottle of Naked Juice may contain 50 grams of carbohydrates, and that doesn't necessarily mean whole fruit. They use grape juice and apple juice. So those things you buy in the store, they're not almost ever going to be as good as what you make at home. So yeah, I mean, that's it. And then lack of filling fiber. So the punchline are the smoothies healthy. They say, if you know that you're not the best at getting your 8 to 5 servings of produce you're supposed to get each day, then smoothies can be a convenient way to pack in more to your diet. So yeah, I think for me, that's what it is. Like if you get plenty of fruits and vegetables, I think you're okay without a smoothie, and it's maybe can risk being less healthy than your other foods. But if you don't get those things, then smoothies are a great way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. We got a bunch of comments here, so I'll start working through some of them. On Instagram, 10,000 mile run says, I put loads of vegetables and spices in smoothies. When I make them, it doesn't taste good, but that's fine. Some people are into that. Like Matt Tolman, the co-founder of Compliment, Like he'll just make these huge smoothies that just look like slush and don't look appealing to me at all. But he doesn't mind them at all because he's just like throwing a bunch of stuff that he wants to get into a drink and kind of using it as a vessel for getting all this good stuff. And I appreciate that for sure. But I just that's not really my style.
Yeah, I used to do that too, and like it crept that direction. Like at first, it was just pretty good stuff, and then I don't know what I got at the health food store, some kind of powder that you added. It had all these different grains and fermented things. I don't know what it was, and then I started adding cinnamon, and then I don't know, extra chia seeds, and like it started becoming like the superfood vessel for me, and it's okay, I guess it's fine. I really don't know how healthy that is, that approach, right? Aside from the fact that you have to drink a smoothie, it's not very good. And eventually that made the habit go away. This is long before I actually stopped because of my teeth. I just got away from eating them because they weren't palatable. They weren't appealing. So I eventually didn't like the smoothie anymore. And then I just stopped having them and then would have a less healthy alternative. So yeah, I don't know. What's that?
Tater tots?
No, not usually a tater tot for breakfast guy. That usually won't make it. Hash brown, maybe.
Hash brown,
potato. So yeah, I don't know. It's I'm with you. Like it can be a thing that you view as a health food, and you just do it to get your healthy stuff in, and that's fine. But
yeah, I mean, right, that's totally fine. All right, so what else we got? We have Dale says, I've never been a big breakfast eater, so drinking breakfast smoothies has always been good for me.
I mean, you could just not eat breakfast. Let's not forget that.
Good.
It's not that skipping meals is good, and there's some evidence that it's not good. But that has been one of my mindset shifts. Like I used to have the smoothie for breakfast, and now I'm just saying, well, if I'm not hungry, I'm just not going to eat breakfast, and it's been okay. I don't know if it's great or not, but it's an option.
Jill, Plant Powered Pantry says, agrees with Dale. And since I work out when I first wake up, it also serves as a post-workout nutrition. Something else we talked about. I make my own. So there's always greens, chia, fruit, turmeric, and water. Sometimes silken tofu.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever put plant milk in yours, or do you always just do water?
Pretty much always have done water. Now that I have sometimes these, hey, look, Huel, I have a Huel right, Huel shirt. Sometimes I'll make those with my son because he drinks those more than I do. But if I'm having one with him, we will always make it with plant milk because I want him to get more calcium. It's one of my nutrients of concern for him. So I'll put almond milk in there, which is fortified, and then he gets a lot. So we tend to do that, but only for that reason, not really for any taste reason or anything like that.
Yeah, we usually do about 50-50. It's more about taste and texture and protein and stuff like that, because again, making it for the kids. So similar to you, thinking about those nutrients. Mr. Jeffrey, I think, sums this up well, which really what we were talking about. I think the point of this is that if you're conscious about it, the smoothie can be a great tool.
Yeah, right. So some people will religiously swear off smoothies and say you cannot have that as if it's oil or something, which is another kind of crazy thing. Not crazy, another extreme thing in my opinion to just swear off, which I've done it too. I'm not saying it's wrong to try that, but yeah, I don't think we need to usually just swear off foods and say this is evil and in all forms. There's ways to make smoothies that's really helpful for you from a habit perspective, especially. But there are also ways to make it bad. Kate says a friend gave her a subscription to a month of delivery smoothies, and not very good. Probably not very healthy either. I would imagine if they're delivered. So, there it is. Yes. All right. Well, that's.
I don't know if that's true. There's some of the delivery ones you actually make them yourself, right? But they come in like those just like fruit things.
Yeah,
just like
Fire Road. Brendan Brazier's company has that. These little packs that are frozen, and you just drop them in the blender with water. Doug says meh, even to that. All right, quickly on to the next article, which we'll knock out in 5 minutes here. This is also from Eat This Not That. It's 7 old-fashioned ingredients that no one uses anymore, but should. I know. And a couple.
What do you think of that headline?
I mean, the but should is kind of. I've seen that a lot, but it's fine. It might just mean it works. I like the number 7. 7's a great choice of a number for a headline. Any number at all will do, but 7's a good one.
The SEO tag is 8. Underrated. Old-fashioned. 8 underrated old-fashioned ingredients. So they must have dropped one. Someone was complaining in the comments that they use it all the time, I bet.
Maybe. I wonder why. Underrated seems like an odd choice for SEO, but I don't know, maybe people are looking for that. Okay, so here we go. Let's not read the intro or anything. Number 1, polenta. Doug, you ever use polenta? I bet not.
Very rarely.
Much as you like a corn tortilla, you don't use the polenta.
I mean, I like polenta. But I just hardly ever cook with it.
Yeah, we don't either. Aaron is not a fan of it. I've tried it a few times at home to make it. Often in Italian recipes, it's like an alternative to pasta or some other kind of carbohydrate. It's just have whatever the protein would be might follow a course of polenta or even be on top of it. Which we don't cook. If we're having an Italian meal, it's the pasta is the meal. It's not like it's the first part and then there's a big protein part afterward. But yeah, Aaron doesn't like it, so we don't really ever make it. I always really kind of like it. It can be, polenta is just cornmeal, and I think it's coarse cornmeal, not fine. I could be wrong. Apparently it takes like an hour of just constant stirring to make it the old-fashioned traditional way. But you can buy these ready-made ones or these 5-minute types or whatever.
It says it can take place of mashed potatoes or rice in many dishes.
Yeah, there you go. And it can be baked so that it actually like is a kind of cake thing that is like sauce might be served over kind of a hard, almost gelatinous kind of thing. Yeah. And I think it's pretty good when it has that texture. I like that. Like that with mushrooms over it would be a really nice dish. But no, I just tend not to use it, and I should. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say, you know what, we're gonna try having that.
Yeah. Mr. Jeffrey says, I love polenta, but always forget about it. I think that's kind of, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. And it's just corn. So, I mean, I guess you can get organic, though, and then it'll be non-GMO and healthy. All right, number 2. This is a weird one. Canned peaches and pineapple, which I just feel like all the time I read advice saying, don't eat those canned fruits because they're in this syrup that is so much sugar and they're terrible. But when you get canned peaches, usually they're the whole cheeks, these whole halves of peaches.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine that being too bad. I mean, I guess you could rinse whatever the syrup is off of it if you really wanted.
What is the syrup? Is it just own sugars, or do they add a bunch of sugar to it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure in many cases they add a whole lot of sugar to it, but I would imagine you can get it also without that. Mr. Jeffrey probably knows. He was a chef. Maybe he is a chef. Maybe he can tell us. But yeah, I guess it makes sense. I don't know why I would think those would be like devoid of nutrition. Like I just think of like the pear halves I used to get in school.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like, well, they're not fresh, so therefore they must not have any nutrition in them. But that's probably wrong. I mean, it's still intact, and like how bad what could they have done to that thing to make it that much worse than a fresh pear?
How about pineapple? Ever do canned pineapple?
I mean, I have. It was good. But no, I mean, I don't ever. You get the rings, I guess, right? Is that what comes in the
rings? I think you can get diced as well, but yeah, rings.
I mean,
we did that. We did that a couple. I think we talked about it. Pineapple and jalapeno pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Did some canned pineapple then.
I think whenever I have done that, it comes out way more consistently ripe than if you buy a pineapple yourself and cut it up.
Sure.
Aside from the hassle. So I think this makes sense. I wouldn't have accepted myself to do it. I'm still not going to go buy canned peaches and eat them. But for using in cooking, maybe it's not a bad idea. Number 3, cottage cheese. Isn't Miyoko's making a vegan cottage cheese or someone? Didn't somebody say that?
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I don't remember.
Yeah. So until there's that, this really doesn't apply to anyone here. I don't think that much. But I do remember people used to say like it was a super healthy, like protein only food, basically. Like there was so little else in it. So people liked it. I don't know for sure if that's right or not. Number 4, celery root. I used a few celery roots in my early vegan days or early vegetarian days when I was all into like going to the grocery store, picking out a new brown fuzzy root that I'd never used and just find a way to use it. But I haven't done that in a long time. And I don't even remember what I use celery root for. They show a soup. They say it can be a low carb stand-in for potatoes. I hate how articles do this, and everyone does it, so I'm not blaming anyone. They say it's a root vegetable with lots of good for you properties. It's high in fiber, which can support heart and gut health. I don't know who needs that. Like, who needs to know like what specific benefit the certain thing in this food does? Like, it's a vegetable, and it's a different vegetable than the one you're currently getting. So like that's probably all you need to know about it, right?
Well, like, if it was like, say, what if it was super high on iron? Like really iron rich like that. Would you want to know that?
Right. I mean, in that case, I actually would, because I wouldn't want to get too much. But if it was really helpful thing, I don't know. Like, I don't think. I guess the best use of that advice would be that then you're going to start eating it consistently as a way of upping your iron intake.
Yeah,
and right. I guess it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is just a cliche. It's not like I'm breaking new ground here, but like, it's so often they'll say a food, they'll say the couple of things that are in it that it is high in, and then they'll say what those things do. And it's like, okay, now that food has that role as addressing that problem, instead of like just being one of these foods that's really good for you.
It's healthy, among many. Yeah. And a fun way to mix things up. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I mean, no one, what's the title of this thing? Old fashioned foods that no one uses anymore, but you should. Like, no one's you start using celery because it's high in fiber, right? Like that.
Right. And good for your gut. Unless, I guess, if you have digestion problems, maybe you say, well, I'm going to start doing that a little bit more. And if you made a lot of food choices that way, then I guess you'd have a diet suddenly that was much higher before than before. But I also think if you just started eating a lot more vegetables, you're also going to fix that problem. And that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5.
I've never cooked celery root. Mr. Jeffrey says celery root makes great soup, but that's nothing else. And Jill from Plant Power Pantry agrees.
Celery salt is really good. And celery root, as I recall, tastes kind of like celery salt does.
Okay.
It's just good. And like, if you're on a low salt diet and you eat some celery, it's just so good because it's salty somehow. All right, moving on. Cinnamon, number 5, cinnamon. I mean, yeah, this is good. Again, they do the same thing. They just tell you what it's high in and what it does. But
everybody uses it.
I don't know if they really do, because it doesn't make its way into that many foods. Like, I don't really use it very often. About the only time I use cinnamon is when I make chorizo at home, vegan chorizo, and it happens to use a little bit of cinnamon. I don't like.
I put it on my oatmeal.
Oatmeal. If you eat oatmeal, you would do it. You'd get it. And other than that, it's like baked goods. I mean, I guess certain, they say toasted winter vegetables, like those kind of recipes might, but I don't know, just not that much. I do hear all the time, Ceylon cinnamon. If you're going to eat cinnamon, you need to get Ceylon, because the other kinds apparently are like mildly toxic. Or maybe even like cancer links. I'm going to look this up really quick. Maybe someone can clarify for us. But yeah,
if curries, Kate Rivercat says cinnamon and curries. It definitely adds a little bit of cinnamon. Yeah,
for sure. All right, I'm not finding it, but yeah, they just, whatever type of cinnamon you get, look it up, and you'll see that they say you should get Ceylon, because then it's better.
You should add it to your coffee.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea. Chicory, cinnamon. Yeah, I'd like to get more of this. People say it's like packed with antioxidants and all these other things. Okay, so coumarin, coumarin. It's a chemical compound found in several plants, including cinnamon, that can cause liver damage in large doses. However, it is not present in Ceylon cinnamon, so that's why you want to get that. All right.
Good to know.
Yeah, it is good to know. And next is beans. They say the simple basic bean is considered a longevity-promoting food because of its fiber and phytonutrients. Again, this is the problem, right? It's not because of those things that it's considered a longevity food. It's considered a longevity food because it's actually shown to make people live longer, or people who eat it, it's associated with longer lifetimes. So it's the health outcome. It's not the mechanism that makes it a longevity food. But anyway, that's another point. Yeah, and they say what we do. Like, you don't have to make them yourself. It's good if you want to. Whether soaked and cooked into a stew-like preparation or mashed into everyday favorites. So actually, they don't say that specifically, but it doesn't matter whether you cook them or buy them canned. You'll get a little extra salt if you buy them in canned, unless you look for the low sodium kind. But yeah, I mean, beans are great.
They're great.
How could you be vegan and not eat beans like almost every day? It'd be really hard.
It would be hard. I do it.
Yeah, me too.
Put them on my tacos. Put them on my burritos. Put them on my nachos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know. Number 7 and the last one, tarragon. This is an odd choice for number 7 on a list like this, but I guess it is. I mean, it's great. Tarragon has a very interesting, unique flavor. Sort of licorice-like. Goes really well in, like, I think they used to make mashed potatoes with it. So it's really good. But and I guess it used to be beloved in classical French cuisine, but has so much to offer in the modern kitchen. I do think it's right. Like you don't really ever see it called for anywhere except for some kind of French recipes. Mr. Jeffrey could probably tell us about tarragon as a chef.
I don't think I've ever cooked with tarragon. I mean, I'm sure I've had it in various things, but I don't think I've ever used it.
Yeah, it's good. They say adding to baked fish or tofu in that thing. I don't know how you. I guess a little marinade would work. But yeah, it's worth trying, Doug. You should put it one day. I don't know if it goes with Mexican food. That might be weird. But
do you get it fresh like this, like in the picture, or
we used to get it fresh, and it would be like in the little packs, not like that, but in those clear plastic packs in the fresh area. But you can definitely get it dried, and I think it probably tastes nearly the same because we used to have a container of dried. Mr. Jeffrey likes it. Says tarragon's great. I knew he would. I mean, I think it'd be good in like people are saying, like if you're making one of those like hot milk beverages people make sometimes. I could see tarragon being good in there. I don't know. Just a thought.
I think they're talking about cinnamon there when they're talking about the frothed milk.
They are. But I'm thinking if you added tarragon, it could work in that kind of thing.
Somebody here, I want to go back to polenta for just a second. Aisha says that polenta could be used in Mexican meals, and as I think that's
for sure.
I got to give it a go. I mean, I have definitely cooked polenta before, but I need to bring it back into the.
Well, I guess you just pour some beans on top of it.
Just get a polenta cake just like the.
I was thinking just like the wet polenta, but you're right. The cake would be just as good.
Yeah.
You could use a cake and like wrap a burrito in it. Be like a chalupa, but a more of a healthy kind.
Ooh, I like it.
I don't know if you can get it to wrap though. It might break when you try to bend the cake.
That's gonna be a goal. Okay. Put some mushrooms in there.
Lucy B says add tarragon to your just egg. That seems like a good idea. I don't really know what goes with eggs, but sounds like it could be good. Oh, she says that's a classic French combo: tarragon and egg. So there you go. There's your opportunity. Bring it to Barnes and Noble with you. Get the just egg. Get a good book off the shelf. Sprinkle some tarragon.
Just show up to Barnes and Noble with my own little tarragon and then sprinkling on my.
You should. All right, good. Well, that's our show today. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for all the comments as always, and keep that Discord going, please. It's good times over there. We'll be back tomorrow, and that's it. Until then, we will hope you enjoy your day.
Bye.
Bye.